Behind the seemingly impenetrable walls of our nation's prisons, where law enforcement officers are tasked with maintaining order and security, a different kind of drama unfolds. It is a tale where the thin, blue line blurs, and love knows no bounds, even within the confines of a prison cell. In this video, we're about to uncover the riveting stories of female cops whose professional lives took a forbidden turn within the prison walls. So, who are these women? Charlene Diane O'Banion. In a shocking incident that sent shockwaves through the law enforcement community, Charlene Diane O'Banion, a 33-year-old former Conroe Montgomery County Jail Facility employee, found herself in trouble after engaging in an illicit relationship with an inmate. This salacious act of misconduct unfolded at the heart of the criminal justice system, leaving many baffled and concerned about the integrity of our correctional institutions. The Conroe Montgomery County Jail Facility, nestled in Montgomery County, Texas, provided the backdrop for this sordid affair. This correctional facility was meant to symbolize law and order, but it became the scene of a scandal that would soon capture the nation's attention. The incident occurred on a fateful night, the 14th of June, 2022. On that ill-fated night, Charlene Diane O'Banion, then employed as a correctional officer at the jail, allowed her professional ethics to crumble under the weight of temptation. She engaged in a forbidden romantic relationship with Jacob Parker, a 28-year-old man who was serving time at the Conroe Montgomery County Jail. Jacob Parker, whose troubled past had led him to incarceration, was facing charges related to drug trafficking. He was awaiting trial and had a reputation for being a problematic inmate within the facility. The circumstances of their meeting remain a matter of speculation, but it is believed that their paths crossed during her regular duties at the jail.
Oh, if I had that sex swing, you better believe I'd leave that fucker up for you.
Would you really?
Hell yeah!
In a gross violation of her duty as a correctional officer, O'Banion allowed her guard to slip and began an illicit affair with Parker. The forbidden relationship between a correctional officer and an inmate raises severe concerns about the security and integrity of correctional facilities, highlighting the potential dangers that arise when those responsible for upholding the law become embroiled in criminal activity themselves. The consequences for Charlene Diane O'Banion were swift and severe once her actions came to light. She was arrested and charged with multiple offenses, including sexual assault and official misconduct. O'Banion's case was unique in that it exposed her illicit relationship and the potential security lapses within the Conroe Montgomery County Jail Facility. It raised questions about the effectiveness of the facility's protocols in preventing such relationships from developing. O'Banion's actions tarnished her reputation and cast a shadow over the entire law enforcement community. The scandal prompted an internal investigation into the facility's procedures and security measures, with the goal of preventing similar incidents in the future. The fallout from O'Banion's actions was not limited to her legal troubles. Her personal life also unraveled as a result of the scandal. The incident, which drew considerable media attention, exposed her private life to public scrutiny, severely damaging her reputation and social standing within the community. Moreover, the impact of O'Banion's actions extended to the inmate, Jacob Parker. The scandal put him under scrutiny and subjected him to additional legal repercussions, potentially affecting his chances for rehabilitation and reintegration into society. Charlene pleaded guilty to improper sexual activity with a person in custody and has been sentenced to 100 days in jail. Ayrshire Gun. HMP Berwyn is one of the UK's most prominent prisons in the picturesque landscape of Wrexham, North Wales. With a capacity of over 2,100 inmates, the prison is known for housing a diverse range of offenders, from petty criminals to those with more serious convictions. The facility aims to focus on rehabilitation and provides various educational and vocational programs to help inmates reintegrate into society upon release. The scandal involving Ayrshire Gun and Khurram Razak came to light when suspicions about their relationship were raised. Ayrshire Gun, a prison officer known for her dedication to her job, fell for Khurram Razak, an inmate with a reputation as a dangerous offender. Khurram Razak was serving a 12-year sentence for conspiracy to rob in HMP Berwyn. His criminal history included convictions for armed robbery, assault, and possessing illegal firearms. Ayrshire Gun was a dedicated and hard-working prison officer at HMP Berwyn. Known for her professionalism, she had been employed at the facility for around 5 months. Her responsibilities included maintaining order, supervising inmates, and ensuring their safety and well-being during their incarceration. The illicit relationship between Ayrshire Gun and Khurram Razak began taking shape during their prison interactions. Razak, a charismatic and manipulative inmate, managed to exploit the vulnerabilities of Gun, who was emotionally susceptible at the time. They gradually grew close, their interactions becoming increasingly personal and crossing the boundaries of professionalism. The affair between Ayrshire Gun and Khurram Razak remained hidden for a while, but suspicions among their colleagues continued to grow. Fellow officers started noticing their frequent interactions and shared their concerns concerns with the prison authorities. To address these suspicions, an internal investigation was launched, which involved monitoring both Gunn and Razak's activities and communications. The evidence that surfaced during this investigation left no room for doubt about the nature of their relationship. She was photographed kissing Razak, who was serving a 12-year sentence for conspiracy to rob, in his cell, and exchanged more than 1,200 phone calls, including explicit video calls, with him in less than 5 months working at HMP Berwyn. Upon discovering the extent of the inappropriate relationship between Aisha Gunn and Kuram Razak, prison authorities took immediate action. She was suspended from her duties, and the case was handed over to the police for a thorough investigation. Aisha Gunn faced multiple charges, including misconduct in a public office, conspiracy to aid a prisoner, and bringing prohibited items into the prison. These charges were particularly serious because they raised questions about her integrity as a prison officer and the prison's security. In response to the incident, the prison administration implemented stricter security protocols and increased surveillance to prevent similar occurrences in the future. The scandal also highlighted the need for better training and support for prison officers to help them navigate the challenging environment and resist potential manipulation by inmates. She had been sentenced to 12 months in prison at Mold Crown Court in 2019 after admitting misconduct in a public office for enjoying steamy trysts with the convicted armed robber while working at the prison. Melanie Alicia Martin. Correctional officers play a vital role in the criminal justice system, ensuring inmates' safety, security, and humane treatment. Melanie Alicia Martin was one of these officers, charged with the responsibility of upholding the law, maintaining order within the facility, and protecting the rights of the incarcerated. Her job was demanding and required unwavering integrity and dedication to her duties. On a seemingly ordinary day, Melanie's life took an unexpected turn. Following receipt of reports from staff, the sheriff requested an outside agency to conduct an investigation on an illicit relationship forming between Melanie and an inmate. This relationship breached the strict code of conduct that correctional officers must follow. Upon investigation, evidence was uncovered, revealing that Melanie had violated the trust placed in her. The inmate involved in the incident remains unnamed to protect their privacy. While Melanie's actions were undoubtedly a breach of protocol, it's also essential to consider the potential impact on the inmate. Exploitative relationships within correctional facilities can leave inmates vulnerable and susceptible to coercion. This incident highlights the need for strict regulations and monitoring to safeguard the rights and well-being of those in custody. Melanie Alicia Martin faced swift legal consequences for her actions. She was arrested and charged with misconduct involving an inmate, a severe offense in California. The legal system is designed to hold individuals accountable, regardless of their profession or status. Melanie's case is a powerful reminder that no one is above the law. This incident has also sparked conversations about the importance of oversight within the correctional system. While Melanie's actions were ultimately discovered, it's crucial to continually assess and enhance security and monitoring mechanisms to prevent such situations from occurring in the first place. Adequate training and psychological support for correctional officers are essential in maintaining their professionalism and ethical standards. The Modoc County community has been shocked by this incident, as it goes against their trust in those who uphold the law. While one individual's actions should not reflect on the entire law enforcement community, this case serves as a stark reminder of the need for transparency, accountability, and community involvement in shaping the future of correctional facilities. The incident involving Melanie Alicia Martin at the Modoc County Jail serves as a poignant reminder of the potential vulnerabilities within the criminal justice system. While it is essential to maintain our trust in law enforcement professionals, it is equally important to ensure that checks and balances are in place to prevent misconduct and maintain the system's integrity. Ultimately, this case highlights the universal truth that everyone, regardless of their profession or status, must be held accountable for their actions. It is an unfortunate incident, but it is a critical reminder of the importance of professionalism, ethics, and oversight within our society's most vital institutions. Melanie's actions should not overshadow the dedication and integrity of the countless other correctional officers working tirelessly to ensure justice is served and the law upheld. Melanie Alicia Martin was locked up on a $20,000 bail at the Modoc County Jail, the same facility where she used to work. Melissa Goodwin. In recent years, cases of inappropriate relationships between female correctional officers and inmates have gained notoriety. One such issue that has shocked the public is that of Melissa Goodwin, a former correctional officer at Silverwater Prison in Western Sydney. Goodwin's illicit relationships with teenage inmate Corey London and Caleb Valerie, an associate of the Rebels outlaw motorcycle gang, have raised questions about the security of our correctional facilities. Melissa Goodwin, a female correctional officer, found herself in the eye of a storm when it was revealed that she had developed improper relationships with inmates in her care. Goodwin worked at Silverwater Prison in Western Sydney, a facility designed to incarcerate individuals who had been convicted of various crimes. Her primary duty was to ensure the safety and security of the prison, but her actions raised concerns about the integrity of the system. One of the most disturbing aspects of Melissa Goodwin's case is her inappropriate relationship with Corey London, a teenage inmate at Silverwater Prison. Corey was serving time for a non-violent offense and was in need of guidance and rehabilitation. However, instead of receiving proper support from his correctional officer, he became involved in an inappropriate relationship. Goodwin's relationship with Corey London went beyond professional boundaries as she began to show favoritism towards him. It is important to note that correctional officers are responsible for ensuring that inmates follow the rules and regulations, and they should never develop personal relationships with those under their care. In addition to her relationship with Corey London, Melissa Goodwin was also involved with Caleb Valerie, an associate of the Rebels outlaw motorcycle gang. This association raised further concerns about the potential security risks posed by her actions. Correctional facilities are meant to be tightly secured, and any external connections to criminal organizations should be strictly prohibited. Melissa Goodwin's actions have not gone unnoticed, and there have been severe consequences for her behavior. When her relationships with Corey London and Caleb Valerie came to light, she faced immediate suspension from her position as a correctional officer. Legal actions were also initiated against her, and she was charged with various offenses related to misconduct and breach of her duty. The legal ramifications for Goodwin extended beyond just her employment. Her actions violated the trust placed in her as a correctional officer and jeopardized the prison's safety and security. The consequences of such actions are grave, and individuals who engage in inappropriate relationships with inmates can face imprisonment themselves. Melissa Goodwin's case highlights the broader implications of inappropriate relationships between correctional officers and inmates. Such relationships compromise the integrity of our correctional facilities, putting the safety of inmates, staff, and the general public at risk. Goodwin pleaded guilty to a relationship with London and was sentenced to a 12-month community corrections order and 100 hours of community service. Joyce Mitchell. In a case that still reverberates in the world of law enforcement and prison security, the story of Joyce Mitchell continues to fascinate and shock. Mitchell, a female prison worker, was at the center of a scandal involving an audacious prison break and a forbidden romance. This sensational incident unfolded at the Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora, New York, leaving the nation in disbelief. The Clinton Correctional Facility, nestled in a sleepy town in upstate New York, was known for its high security measures and the incarceration of dangerous felons. Here, Joyce Mitchell worked as a civilian employee, serving as a seamstress within the prison's walls. The facility had a reputation for being escape-proof, but all of that changed when Joyce Mitchell crossed paths with two inmates, Richard Matt and David Sweat. The dramatic incident began when Mitchell, who had been working at the facility for years, developed an unhealthy infatuation with Richard Matt, a convicted murderer, and David Sweat, a vicious cop killer. As a seamstress, Mitchell had access to the prison's sewing shop and, more crucially, the trust of the inmates who worked there. Mitchell's relationship with Matt and Sweat gradually evolved from a simple flirtation to something more sinister. The inmates used their cunning manipulation to exploit Mitchell's vulnerability and willingness to bend the rules for their benefit. The details of how the relationship between Joyce Mitchell and the two inmates unfolded remain somewhat murky. Still, it is believed that Mitchell played a significant role in aiding their escape. She reportedly provided them with tools such as hacksaw blades, chisels, and even a hole punch, which they used to cut through the steel walls of their cells and escape from the maximum security prison. On the night of June 6, 2015, Matt and Sweat executed a daring prison break, making their way through the labyrinthine tunnels and pipes that ran beneath the prison. The escape plan was audacious, involving access to catwalks and manholes, and required a great deal of inside knowledge and assistance. Joyce Mitchell was supposed to be the getaway driver, waiting outside the prison walls with a car and supplies. However, in a sudden change of heart, she failed to meet the inmates at the rendezvous point. Instead, she contacted the authorities, admitting her involvement and revealing the escape plot. Her actions sparked a massive manhunt, and law enforcement officers nationwide joined in the search for the escaped inmates. The manhunt lasted for weeks, leading authorities through dense woods, challenging terrains, and uncharted territories. Eventually, Richard Matt was shot and killed by law enforcement officers, while David Sweat was captured and taken back into custody. As for Joyce Mitchell, her actions came with severe consequences. She faced several charges that included promoting prison contraband, criminal facilitation, and hindering prosecution. Her cooperation with the inmates during the escape attempt was deemed a massive betrayal of her role as a prison worker, and it sent shockwaves through the criminal justice system. Mitchell was ultimately sentenced to up to 7 years in prison for her involvement in the prison break, and she was also ordered to pay restitution for the damage caused by the escape. From the initial flirtation to the assistance she provided during the escape were a striking example of how a lapse in judgment can have devastating consequences. Kawana Jenkins. Kawana Jenkins, a 36-year-old detention officer, was known for her dedication to maintaining order and security within the Fulton County Detention Center. She had a reputation for being disciplined, courteous, and responsible in her role. Friends and colleagues described her as a reliable and hardworking individual who had been working at the detention center for nearly 5 years. Kawana Jenkins's story took a surprising turn when rumors started circulating about her having an unusual connection with some inmates. These rumors suggested that she was not just enforcing rules, but was also bending them, engaging in questionable relationships with incarcerated individuals. Once the rumors reached the ears of her superiors, they launched an inquiry into the matter. The investigation uncovered a series of messages exchanged between Jenkins and several inmates. These messages ranged from simple greetings to more personal conversations, raising concerns about the nature of their relationships. It became clear that Jenkins had crossed professional boundaries, which seriously violated the rules and ethics governing detention officers. Authorities said that she had a long-lasting improper relationship with the prisoner and even went so far as to provide him the illegal smartphone that was used to video their conduct. An illegal smartphone was used to record the event that resulted in Kawana Jenkins's firing and subsequent incarceration. The smartphone was taken by a sheriff's strike squad during a shakedown inside a maximum security wing. A total of 11 cell phones in addition to weapons were confiscated in the shakedown. When the investigators looked through the smartphones, they discovered Kawana's video showing the former cop kissing an inmate while sitting on his lap. In the video, the inmate told Kawana to give him something. The officer then gave him a pair of designer Cartier eyeglasses. As a detention officer, Jenkins was responsible for upholding the law and maintaining order within the detention center. Her role was to ensure the safety of both inmates and staff while adhering to a strict code of conduct. Engaging in personal conversations with inmates directly breached her professional obligations. Jenkins's actions compromised her integrity and raised concerns about potential security risks within the facility. Inmates could potentially exploit their connection with the detention officer for personal gain or to disrupt the facility's operations. Following the investigation, Fulton County authorities swiftly addressed the situation. Kawana Jenkins was immediately suspended from her duties pending a thorough review of the case. Her actions had tarnished her reputation and raised questions about the effectiveness of the detention center's oversight and accountability procedures. The case of Kawana Jenkins had a broader impact on the Fulton County Detention Center. It highlighted the need for stricter monitoring and oversight of detention officers to ensure that such incidents do not recur. The 36-year-old former officer was charged with 5 counts of violating an oath by a public officer, 2 counts of improper sexual contact by an agent or employee, 1 count of giving an inmate a prohibited item with authorization, 2 counts of cruelty to inmates, and 2 counts of reckless conduct. Denise Prell. Like many women, Denise Prell entered law enforcement with noble intentions. Her desire to maintain safety and order within the prison walls was commendable. However, her actions took a disturbing turn when she became involved in a relationship with an inmate, ultimately leading to her downfall. The story of Denise Prell's inappropriate relationship began within the walls of the Clinton Correctional Facility, a high-security prison in New York. Prell worked in the tailor shop, a place where inmates could learn valuable skills and contribute positively to their rehabilitation. The tailor shop was a controlled environment where trust and discipline were paramount. Prell's role as a corrections officer was to maintain this trust and ensure that the inmates' rehabilitation efforts were not compromised. It was in this tailor shop that Prell met Paul Norris, a convicted felon serving a 20-year sentence at Clinton Correctional for first-degree manslaughter. Norris was among those who showed promise in reforming his life, and his involvement in the tailor shop was part of his rehabilitation process. Denise Prell, however, crossed an ethical boundary by becoming too personally involved with Norris. Denise Prell's relationship with Paul Norris went beyond professional boundaries. What began as casual conversations about work and life soon evolved into something more intimate. Inmates are vulnerable, and it is the duty of corrections officers to protect them, not exploit them. Norris, who was working hard to reform his life, became a victim of Prell's inappropriate advances. The relationship went unnoticed for some time, as Prell and Norris took extra precautions to conceal their interactions. However, the truth has a way of coming to the surface, and it was only a matter of time before their secret was revealed. The consequences of Denise Prell's actions are devastating for her and the entire prison community. When an officer betrays the trust placed in them, it erodes the credibility of the entire corrections system. The mission of the prison system is to rehabilitate inmates and ensure public safety, and when a relationship like this is exposed, it jeopardizes these goals. When corrections officers compromise their integrity, it undermines the principles underpinning the justice system. Her actions damaged her career and raised questions about the adequacy of checks and balances in the system. Denise Prell's inappropriate relationship highlights the importance of implementing strict policies and conducting thorough background checks for individuals entering such roles. The prison environment should be a place of accountability and rehabilitation, and it is essential to safeguard the well-being of inmates. Furthermore, this case underscores the need for proper training and education of corrections officers regarding professional ethics. It is crucial to remind officers of their responsibilities, the boundaries they should never cross, and the implications of doing so. Denise Prell pleaded guilty to misdemeanor counts of promoting prison contraband, sexual abuse in the third degree, and official misconduct. Tina Gonzalez. At the Fresno County Jail, Tina Gonzalez, now 30 years old, was a correctional officer. Fresno County Jail is a critical institution in the heart of Fresno, California, responsible for housing and rehabilitating individuals who have been charged or convicted of various crimes. The jail plays a vital role in the criminal justice system, ensuring that those who have committed offenses face the consequences of their actions. However, it's crucial to remember that inmates, despite their wrongdoing, are still human beings with rights, and law enforcement and correctional officers have to treat them with respect and fairness. Tina Gonzalez was one such correctional officer tasked with upholding the law within the confines of Fresno County Jail. She was responsible for ensuring the safety and security of inmates, as well as overseeing their rehabilitation programs. However, her personal relationships with some inmates raised alarm bells. Inmates are often vulnerable and isolated from their families and communities, making them susceptible to manipulation and abuse. Officers like Tina Gonzalez have a significant role in ensuring inmates' rights and well-being are protected, but instead, she chose to betray the trust placed in her. Tina Gonzalez's relationships with inmates were not just friendly gestures, but evolved into something more inappropriate. She crossed the ethical boundaries, engaging in romantic and sexual relationships with multiple inmates under her care. This misconduct is not only unethical, but illegal. In our justice system, it is essential to maintain the separation between those responsible for enforcing the law and those who are incarcerated. Any breach of this separation undermines the very foundation of our justice system, creating opportunities for corruption, manipulation, and abuse. She gave the inmate razor blades, a cell phone, and critical jail intelligence. At times, she communicated sensitive information to the inmate about individuals entering the inmate's pod and when the pod would be searched. But even more sinister is cutting a hole in your pants to make it easier to have sex with an inmate, and having intercourse in full view of 11 other inmates is something only a depraved mind could come up with. The Fresno County Jail Administration launched an internal inquiry as soon as they became aware of these complaints to ascertain the veracity of the claims. They highlighted that any infractions of the law or the department's code of conduct would be handled appropriately since they take this issue seriously. Tina Gonzalez was given 2 years probation and 7 months in jail for her crimes. Emily Watson. The Whistler Correctional Institute, nestled in the quiet countryside, has long been known for its commitment to security and rehabilitation. It serves as a place for inmates to serve their sentences and offers them the opportunity to reform. However, the serenity of the facility was disrupted when the story of Emily Watson came to light. The scandal began to unravel when rumors of unusual behavior between Emily and an inmate, John McGee, started circulating among the staff and prisoners. McGee was serving time for causing death by dangerous driving. The exact sequence of events that led to this shocking affair remains hazy, but what is clear is that Emily, a seasoned officer with a previously unblemished record, gradually allowed her professional boundaries to blur. Her connection with the inmates started off innocuously, with friendly conversations and minor favors. These seemingly harmless interactions laid the foundation for a much deeper problem. Emily Watson's lapse of judgment led her to sneak love letters to the inmates, some of which were found during a routine cell search. These letters contained personal messages and romantic confessions, indicating an intimate relationship between Emily and the inmates. Such behavior is strictly prohibited in a correctional facility, as it compromises security and violates ethical standards. She performed a sex act on him twice, once on Christmas Day, 2017, and also had intercourse with him once in his cell. Miss Watson had also sent explicit images and videos of herself to him on a phone that had been smuggled into the prison hidden inside a PlayStation. The Whistler Correctional Institute acted swiftly to address the situation. Emily Watson was immediately placed on administrative leave pending a thorough investigation. John McGee was also separated from the general prison population and placed in solitary confinement. The consequences for all 3 individuals were significant. Emily Watson faces a series of charges, including unauthorized communication with inmates, bringing contraband into the facility, and violating her duty as a correctional officer. These charges highlight the severity of her actions and the potential harm they posed to the security and integrity of the prison. If convicted, Emily could face severe penalties, including imprisonment, substantial fines, and the permanent loss of her career. The incident involving Emily Watson has prompted the Whistler Correctional Institute to re-evaluate its security and monitoring measures. Strengthened security protocols include enhanced surveillance and stricter oversight of staff-inmate interactions. The institute is also intensifying training programs to underscore the importance of maintaining professional boundaries. This case serves as a stark reminder of the vulnerability within the prison system. While the majority of correctional officers are dedicated professionals who adhere to strict ethical standards, the incident involving Emily Watson underscores the importance of maintaining vigilance and ethical conduct within the prison environment. A single individual's actions can undermine the entire system's trust and security. The legal system must ensure that consequences for misconduct are substantial and act as a deterrent to others who might contemplate similar actions. This incident reinforces the importance of upholding zero-tolerance policies for any breaches of ethical conduct within the criminal justice system. Jennifer Gavin. In a shocking incident at HMP Berwyn in Wrexham, North Wales, Jennifer Gavin, a female prison officer, found herself on the wrong side of the law. The illicit relationship between Jennifer Gavin and prisoner Alex Coxon took place between April and July 2020 within the confines of HMP Berwyn, one of the largest prisons in the UK. Gavin's actions defied her professional responsibilities and broke the law. Intriguingly, this case involved more than just emotional attachment. It involved contraband and illegal activities behind bars. Jennifer Gavin took her relationship with Alex Coxon to the digital realm by sending intimate photos of herself through Snapchat, a popular social media platform. Their forbidden romance escalated when Gavin crossed the line by sharing these explicit photos. But Gavin's involvement with Coxon didn't just stop at inappropriate images. In a shocking turn of events, she smuggled a mobile phone behind bars for him. This act not only jeopardized her career, but also posed a significant threat to prison security. Inmates possessing mobile phones can lead to illegal activities and undermine the very purpose of their incarceration. Jennifer Gavin faced severe consequences for her unprofessional and illegal behavior. The charges included misconduct in a public office. In her role as a prison officer, Gavin violated the trust placed in her and failed to perform her duties adequately. There also was smuggling contraband. By smuggling a mobile phone into the prison, Gavin endangered the safety and security of the facility, putting fellow officers, inmates, and the public at risk. And inappropriate conduct with an inmate. Her involvement with Alex Coxon, including intimate photos and physical contact, clearly breached prison regulations and the law. The case of Jennifer Gavin stands out due to several unique and exclusive aspects, such as her case featuring a romantic element that went beyond the usual illicit relationships between prison officers and inmates. The exchange of intimate photos and physical contact added a layer of complexity to the case. Jennifer Gavin's involvement in smuggling a mobile phone inside the prison showcased a blatant disregard for security measures. Using mobile phones within prisons can lead to criminal activities inside and outside the facility. The incident at HMP Berwyn, one of the UK's largest prisons, highlighted the challenges prison authorities face in managing large inmate populations. The size and scope of the facility may have contributed to the opportunities for misconduct. The unlawful relationship between Gavin and Coxon came to light when prison authorities received a tip-off about their inappropriate interactions. The keen vigilance of fellow officers and the facility's security measures unraveled their covert activities. Prison authorities launched an internal investigation to corroborate the information received, ultimately leading to Gavin's arrest and subsequent legal proceedings. Jennifer Gavin was arrested, charged, and sentenced to 8 months in prison for her misconduct. So, can love truly conquer all, even when it's found in the most unlikely places? Click on the card on your screen for more exciting videos like this.